everybody. Welcome to No Scrubs, the only show on the web dedicated to giving you all the tricks and tools of the trade to make sure you have no bad hires. Because you know, a scrub is a guy we don't get no love from. Just like bad hires, we don't want them. All right, so let's get to it. I am Dawn Burke. I am the VP of People for tech company called Daxco in Birmingham, Alabama. And since we're speaking of Birmingham, I am thrilled. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest this week. It is the Godfather himself, the Godfather, Doug Jean. Doug Jean is the CHRO of Children's Hospital. Welcome, Doug.
Well, thank you, Dawn. And just so your viewers understand, Godfather is probably code language for old guy.
Well, the Godfather, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but didn't Chris Dunn, the founder of FOT, pen that name for you, that moniker?
Absolutely. That's a KD original that stuck. I guess you could have worse monikers, couldn't you?
You could. Oh, and before we get too much further into this wonderful conversation, I got to let you know who's bringing you this wonderful interview. This interview is brought to you by, of course, Fistful of Talent, but more importantly, the great folks at Checked.com. Checked.com, check them out. It's spelled CHEQUED.com. All right, so Godfather. Me and you, we do have a little history since we're in Birmingham and we're really involved with the SHRM chapter. Me and Doug actually are in a band together. I know, isn't that awesome? So I have a couple of questions for you. Okay, you ready?
Fire away.
Beatles or Stones?
Got to go Stones, but gosh, that's a close call.
Okay. Neil Young or Leonard Skinner?
Well, it was probably a dead heat until at the University of Alabama took over Leonard Skinner with that song. All jokes aside, both great. I play more Neil Young, so I'm going to lean that direction.
Okay, so Alabama Auburn.
That's an easy one. Orange blue, baby.
All right. Auburn. Great. Okay, so today we're talking about a little bit about a post that was put up a few days ago. The name of the post at Fistful of Talent was called Determining Work Fit, the New God Complex. And it really touched upon just a couple of themes. First of all, we talk a lot on this show, and I'm sure you've read in a lot of other areas, Doug, about the importance now, I think, in the modern workforce that assessing fit has. I think most presume that assessing fit is a pretty big criteria now for determining long-term employment. All right. The other things that the blog post really touched upon, though, is when recruiters or hiring managers are making the decision or determination about fit, it really is a pretty awesome responsibility they have. All right. So I think it also touched upon that that's a pretty big deal and something that shouldn't be taken for granted. The other connection that the blog post made was that in order for a hiring decision maker to really make an accurate choice about fit, they really have got to get to a point of being pretty selfless, which then tippy-toed over into Maslow's theory of self-actualization. So before we get a little too philosophical, which again, you could be because you did go to seminary, didn't you?
I did, and not only that, chose to minor in philosophy, so you'll have to rein me in if we get too philosophical.
All right, very good. So I'd love to get your thoughts on the post and some of these themes. So, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts regarding, in general, the importance of fit in a hiring process.
First of all, I greatly thank you to your sponsor, Check.com, for giving us this opportunity. And Dawn, I greatly enjoyed your post, and I always enjoy your engaging, edgy style of writing. So kudos to you on that. I thought you hit what I admired about your post, I guess the most, is that you ventured into a little bit of a pink elephant that's sitting in the room anytime we get, whether we as HR, an outside recruiting firm, and our hiring managers come to the table. There is it's serious business, but I think that it's very understandable and it's easy to happen that we get we start chasing speed and time to fill, and there's no end to it. So it's easy to get a little desensitized to the fact that we are messing with people's lives. The importance of fit to the individual talent of the person, the intrinsic value of anyone who's approaching our organization to potentially get on the bus. And then you flip that around, we're also organizations tend to not be thought of sympathetically because they're large and powerful. But organizations have rights in this game too, and that is that we work very hard to make sure that we're not going to cause other team members to be given a new coworker that's just not working, is miserable because of job fit. So if you step back from it and look at it, as you pointed out, in terms of the almost spiritual, if you will, importance of it, spiritually in a broad sense, not a purely organized religion sense by any means, then it's darn important work, and we should constantly call each other to take it seriously and continue to get better at things like evaluating fit.
Exactly. So in your experience, and you've got quite a Godfather, you've got quite a lot of experience in the HR world. Do you think that recruiters these days are really assessing themselves on what their motivators are? Do you think that recruiters or hiring managers are actually being incented to assess fit properly?
My instinct, I don't speak from any formal research in that regard, but my instinct would be you would get a bell curve.
Okay.
If you could assess that. So it's if you accept the premise of Dawn's post, of that FOT post, that self-awareness really is valuable to do this well, then it's probably, in terms of recruiters in organizations or external recruiters, I imagine it's as good as the level of self-awareness and selflessness of the individual recruiter. But then we can also ask ourselves, those of us who are vested with leadership authority, when is the last time we asked our recruiters to care to that degree? Or when have we given them resources or experiences that allow them to have, for example, self-care, or do we keep the whip on them to fill jobs, keep filling jobs, and drive them into the ground to the point where it's almost absurd to expect that they would also have that kind of self-awareness to do what you're asking.
Sure, because usually when people are time-bound or overloaded or overburdened, the very first thing that leaves the building usually is just a sense of graciousness.
Yes.
So certainly take that many steps further. Definitely empathy tends to leave the building as well. And again, I think just to reset, we're talking about the importance of self-awareness in the hiring manager or decision maker with determining fit. Maybe not as much onus when we're determining skill set, because that's usually pretty objective. But again, we're putting it more on that more personalized, empathetic, or cultural fit. Exactly. So do you have any ideas, and it might not just be for recruiters, and it might not even be under this umbrella of the topic we're talking about, but you talked about self-care. So as an HR professional, do you have any things that you do or that you would recommend other HR professionals do to take care of themselves, considering there's a lot of pressures and the potential of burnout?
I'm glad you asked this, because the whole notion of, I think there are, not so much recently, but it's really, if you think about, for example, the whole concept of work and non-work or work-life balance, it's still a fairly modern or contemporary notion. I'm not sure, with the pressures on businesses, that we've really achieved that, other than to some degree lip service, because you can say we believe in work-life balance, and that goes to hell when on any given Friday it's a scene from Office Space. I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I am literally, in this case, I'm talking about doing everything possible to set your staff up. Let's just stick with recruiters for now, so that you tell them, I don't want you, with rare exception when we have no choice, I don't want you here ridiculous hours. I want you, if you consider how does it, when you take a friend, or if you were going on a date or taking your spouse to dinner, I imagine it, at least from my life experience, that goes much better if you've had a few hours to detox after work. Maybe you get to work out or read a book, relax a while, take a power nap, and then when you arrive to the conversation and to enjoy dinner and conversation, you're at ease. Your soul is quieted for a minute. So try to apply that to what really happens in a recruiting setting, particularly an interview, even if it's a phone interview. I imagine most of our recruiters are wired, and they just finished another one. They're right on to the next one, maybe a 5-minute break. And it probably takes enormous discipline to approach the person and make them feel special, listen to them, actually have it be a dialogue in which both can learn about, is there a fit here? So I think I'm talking about literally asking and teaching our staff and recruiters how to build some disciplines into their life for eating properly, having friendships, having interests outside of work, literally fitness of some sort, whatever that is, so that when you come to the job, your center, your emotional nerve center is intact, and you can function in a way that's going to make it more likely that you'll learn about what you need to assess job fit, which is critical. And it's interesting. If you look at football, I don't know why, it's obvious to us in football games, if you took an offensive lineman and lined him up at quarterback, it would be obvious to everyone in the stands, something's not right here. But in a lot of our jobs, it's more subtle. So I think we need to not over-invest in our interviewing as the way we hire. We need to develop other, perhaps more scientific solutions that augment that and give us some warning lights going off if we're getting job fit or anything else wrong.
Well, I think we will leave it at that, Godfather. Doug Dean, CHRO of Children's. So give us just the 30-second. What's happening at Children's these days? What awards have you guys won? Y'all are always winning something.
Well, I won't wear our honors on our sleeve. I guess I would say, and if any of your viewers happen to be coming through Birmingham, Alabama, or live in our fair city, if they will look me up, Doug Dean, and easy to find on LinkedIn or at Children's, I would personally give you a tour of our new $480 million facility, which is incredible. What's happening, top of mind, a week ago, we reached patient volume of 380, which shattered previous records in the 350s. So I guess I would thank the people of Alabama who supported the project. We needed expansion, and that's certainly being proven day in and day out. Well, there will always be financial reimbursement threats that every hospital has to deal with, which we're doing on the Medicaid front. On the staffing front, we're on a growth pattern. We'll be hiring between 800 and 900 new employees per year, and anticipate that growth curve continuing for the foreseeable future.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I will piggyback on that. Children's Hospital is a world-class children's hospital here in Birmingham, Alabama. So no kidding aside, it changes people's lives. It's a wonderful institution. All right. So guys, thank you so much. Doug, thank you for your time today. It's actually been a fantastic conversation. And that will do it for this week's episode of No Scrubs. Again, brought to you by Checked.com.